Good evening, guys, gals, and non binary pals. How are you doing this lovely time zone? For me, it's evening, but it might be morning or a different time of day wherever you might be. Hello, hello. Today is a special day. I only learned of it about 2 years ago from Twitter. A lot of artists all around the world have posted some lovely Asian 8 and 3 art for today, for 83 Day, because it's August 3rd in most time zones still. And so I want to celebrate Asian 8 and 3 today. Ah, man. Yeah, these vibes are really chill. Thank you everyone for being here. Hello as always to everyone, especially our members, Musical Brother, Roxas, Clasher, Jackson, Roxas, and Tuck, and Musnet, and Lewis. Hello everybody. How are you doing? Agent 3 and 8 is yet another iconic duo? Absolutely. Tomorrow, I've heard people say that they're going to celebrate Agent 8 and 4 though, since it's 8-4. It's already probably that day for most of you, right? Absolutely wholesome cinnamon rolls, indeed they are. Hello at midnight. It's nighttime. That's cool. I wonder where the train is going. I wonder where the deep sea metro is going. It's just traveling through the ocean. Where do the passengers go? You never see it stop, except for test facilities, you know? I always wondered. But yeah, we're on a train ride with Agent 8 and 3 today. I have something new in the description for y'all. I think since the last stream, the channel anniversary, which also has timestamps updated for it recently, if you want to take a look at it and see all the different karaoke songs if you've missed out on it, so you can like skip to any section you want. Updated that, but since then I've added a frequently asked questions section. Please peep that whenever you can. Thank you for the super chat. Hey, can I get a poggers from my fellow 83 shippers? Let's go. Huge pog for that. I go by Asian 24 for the ship name, but I also like 83. There's two different ways. But all versions of the ship are valid. Just want to put that out there, of course. The pogs in the chat. Y'all are precious. The last time I watched one of your streams was during Final Fest. Yo. It's been a year since then, right? Wow, we've come so far as a community, though. I feel like they're just riding through every stop because they can. Yeah. Oh, man. Someone in the chat mentioned that their phone's gonna die soon, so I hope you get to a charger. My sleep schedule is ruined forever, but it's worth it. I feel the same way. Vibes of 3 and 8 will be so chill, not gonna lie. Yes, today we're reading a really, well, I want to say short and sweet. I'm used to that, but it's actually pretty lengthy. It's a very atmospheric story by someone who goes by the name Marmar. It's linked in the description, and it's called Effervescence. It's labeled as an Agent 8 and 3 story, or an Agent 24 story, but it gives a different perspective on if 3 were to meet 8 before the whole blender scenario. And it has about 2 chapters. We're reading the second part because I like that part the most. I really wonder what it would have been like if everyone didn't get separated, like in the DLC story. Of course, we wouldn't have had that epic finale that we did have. I'm sure the developers like went through all the different plot points A bit of fun trivia though, actually. Agent 3 was probably gonna be more of like a playable sidekick for us in the DLC, according to Hikara Walker, the art book that hasn't been translated yet. I wonder how that would have played out. Would have been really cool. I want to thank everyone in the chat for your kind comments, as always. The karaoke was a lot of fun. Yeah. I tried my hand at the Inkling language. I did one song in English. The timestamps are there. I believe it was Into the Light. Absolutely love your content and your voice for 3. The raspy and tough voice you've got for her is amazing. Thank you. It's definitely been a work in progress to get the character voices to where they are now. I think I went over that a bit more in the Q&A, but yeah. Ah, man. I don't know. I always say this. I think I always say this, but Agent 3 and 8 are so cool. Everyone in the series is, but I want to see what Off the Hook and these two get up to in Splatoon 3. Oh, Scenic! Thank you for joining the membership, by the way. Splatoon 3 Splatfest. I have no idea what those will be like. Sorry you couldn't make it to the last stream. No worries, Jackson. That's alright. Time zones are time zones, and well, at least we're all here together now, though, right? Splatoon 4 is official because you time traveled. I have no doubt we'll have some sort of 4th game. The series is pretty big now, isn't it? Tired but can't miss this. Well, hopefully, these are Deep Sea Metro vibes to relax and sleep to. Hopefully, that helps. Background you're seeing right now is a video that I looped down to the closest second I could. Really wanted a sort of calming background like the lo-fi radio streams do have. So it's just footage from Octo expansion, really. And the lovely art is drawn by Poony Boony over on Twitter, who is the biggest fan of 83, one of the biggest fans of Agent 8 and 3 I've ever met. And they draw all forms of the ship and just retweet a lot of amazing Splatoon art. So their link is in the description, you can find that there. Along with the frequently asked questions. There's a lot of people in the chat do ask, who's my favorite Squid Sister? A lot. And so yeah, you can find that in the description. And the music. All the special links. Thank you too, thank you. I'd love to see Agent 3 help us out in Splatoon 3's hero mode. Yeah, I wonder like what the Squid Beast's gonna be doing. If they go out to where Splatsville is, take a little road trip. I don't know. Can only hope. Splatoon 3 is even closer, right? Feels like months ago, back in February when it was announced. We had no idea how we were gonna make it through this crazy year. But we're halfway through. Told you guys we could do it. Sounds like a wonderful story. Yeah. Yeah, you guys can, it'll be up on the screen, so you'll be able to see it as well. It'll be in the left-hand corner. But I've linked it so you can check it out. Fortunately, doesn't really have a continuation as of now. But seeing cool fan works like that always inspires me to get back on my own nonsense. I'll just continue Inkopolis Storytime. There's so many ideas I have and so little time. What's your favorite version of 3 and 8? The ones who were here on the train with us, of course. I love all of them, they're all valid, but these two. So precious. Not the canon agents as they normally appear. There's a lot of lore, yes, there is. Guessing what the hero mode will be about? Yeah, we have no clues. The only clues we really have are just little salmon guys running around. And that's because Team Chaos won, right? I'm just thinking that everyone who's on Team Chaos's side will make an appearance at some point. We don't have a lot to go off of, though. Being kept under wraps in a top secret box at Nintendo's office. They're just throwing crumbs out for us every few months. We'll be fed soon, though. Multiplayer hero mode. That would be interesting. Kind of like maybe Mario 3D World. It's one of my favorites. Also a really underrated game. It's already August is mind-blowing. It is, right? Only 4 months left in 2021. Means we got a lot of content to get out before Splatoon 3's release date is revealed. No Battle Royale? I don't know. A lot of people did comment on that in the 30-minute video where we talk about our hopes and wishes for the game. Would it be chaotic like Fall Guys? Maybe. I don't know. But before we do get into the reading for tonight, I want to ask you guys what sort of content you're looking forward to from the channel. You know, a lot of people are pumped up for the next episode of Hooked on Gaming, and that's coming really soon, along with a few more comic dubs. But that series, it's been a doozy to write for and to edit. I do love Pearl and Marina just gaming and having a good time with it. I want to put in as many references as I can, a lot of inside jokes and puns for the script, so crossing my fingers that y'all will enjoy it. Nintendo could easily trap themselves with Splatfest because each Final Fest determined the outcome of the next game. That is true. And as much as they wanted to sort of downplay the world-ending sort of aspect of Chaos versus Order, I mean, you saw how the square looked. It looks like it looks like the final level of I'm gonna go with 3D World again, like just how grandiose it was. Everything was just sort of, well, each side had its own different aesthetic. Like Pearl's side had the barbed wire and all the gold for Chaos, and Marina had the silver sort of chrome for Team Order. So I think those aesthetics will play into something in the hero mode at least. Old human technology? Yeah, there was a ton of that in the backgrounds of Octo expansion. Thunderman, yeah, I think they would want to do something with that at least. Stories. The Castaways cover was great. Oh, thank you. I had a lot of fun recording that one. Been enjoying Hooked on Gaming? That's great. Other Nintendo franchises? Depends. Rankopolis Storytime. Well, I do SFM animations. Optimus97, who's done some of the posters for a few of our videos, is actually really good with those type of animations. I haven't specifically thought of a video idea for that, but it could be something we put together. Reading Splatoon stories and song covers. Yeah, song covers should be great. I want to get a few more out this month if I can. And of course, most of the Splatoon stories are voice requests from the past streams, but there is going to be a new Reading Your Splatoon Stories entry that features Agent 8 and 3. It's by the artist Pixels, who I believe the comic that they did on the channel is called Agent 8's Splatawing Costume. And so they have a really nice story about Agent 3 and 8. A lot of chill vibes I'm looking forward to. Got some new art for it as well. You'll be seeing that in a few weeks. When we get a test fire, I have no idea. Any chance that road trip with the Isles and Squid Beak could be a potential story time? It could be. I want some more details about Splatsville first. I feel like I'm just kind of shooting into the dark because a lot of details are unknown, right? Yeah, appreciate that, Scenic. Yeah, believer of doing what you enjoy. Yeah, with creating content, it's always kind of like a 50-50. It's got to be enough of what you like creating and enough of what people want to see, so feedback does help a lot. for the final boss. Yeah, true, Lily. I think that could affect a lot of those designs. Of course, we're gonna get a new art book for Splatoon 3. Like a new game being announced means that we get a new art book. Hopefully the Octo expansion one doesn't get left behind in the dust. We have not done Splatoon 2 private battles in a long time, but when we do, we'll find a way to add people. A lot of you enjoyed the Splatoon 1 battles that we did in the 4-year anniversary stream. We'll bring those back as well. Bixel is one of my favorite Splatoon fan artists. Hey Bomboozled, what's up? Yeah, I love Bixel's portrayal of 3 and how they're so buff. And a lot of people still, to this day, I receive comments where people are like, well, that's so unexpected. Why is 3 so buff? And I'm like, come on. They never skip Arm Day. Come on now, they've been training for a long time. Like, everyone's different interpretations of the characters is really, really unique. Sounds great. Smash Ultimate and Hook on Gaming? Eventually, yes. If you remember the Smash Brothers Heroes vs. Villains Splatfest, you know that Marina, takes gaming very seriously. She had the GameCube controller, she had the backrest, her glasses on and everything. That's gonna be a very intense episode for sure. Splatoon 3 merch. Excited for that. Japan's already getting some. Kind of jealous. You're not late. We haven't gotten to the main event just yet, but welcome everyone. The online lounge in Splatoon 2 is gone. Did anyone actually ever use that? I don't think so. I remember getting invitations to people's voice chat rooms, like back in the day when I used to have the app. I don't know. Who would rage first in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate between the agents? Probably 4. I'm picking on 4. Yeah, I can see that happening. New species in Splatoon 3? We should. We definitely should. How long does it take to reach level 99 in Splatoon 2? I used to play a lot more often than I do now, especially in 2020. I'd say mostly just playing around the time of Splatfest and just occasionally each week. If you really like put your all into it, you put your heart into it, I think you can get there in like a month, maybe a month plus, a month and a half. I guess if you're playing like every single day, maybe it would take 3 months, who knows? I never actually kept track of it. Yeah, I'm happy enough the hook exists too. What would 4 think of 8? Well, I know in our headcanons that they're all pretty much good friends right now, right? But I guess in the canon, we have no idea. Like in the actual game, that's what I'm referring to. I just use Discord, true. Yeah, I know a lot of Splatoon YouTubers. The cool people I collabed with. You can find them on the Studio Comrades list on my channel. A lot of people I enjoy collabing with. But yeah. It's nice to catch up with y'all and to see your messages coming through. Really enjoying this train ride with the agents right now. It's really, really calming. You guys are looking forward to more Inkopolis story time. Yeah, Marie's episode is next. No, it's been a while since we've seen the Squid Sisters for sure. True. That is, yeah, I guess it does depend on your connection. Like, I'm not even thinking of ranked battles, I'm just thinking of turf war. Yeah, ranked is kind of ruthless in that if you don't win or don't get a knockout, your points don't really move, so yeah. Thank you for subscribing. I cannot read that name, but thank you. Ah, the Octarian Domes? Yeah. That's where the Octolings live, right? Basically the Splatoon 2 hero mode. She's oblivious to the fact that 8 is an Octoling. You know what? Yeah, there is a comic based on that. I think it's called The Agents Swap Outfits by the artist Kalamaluna. I think it's just a play off of the... It's a play off of the Inkopolis fashion check thing that Pearl did, where she... This happened in-game, right before Octo expansion, where she said that all the Octolings were Inklings with unique hairstyles. I guess she probably either still hadn't learned from Marina they were Octolings, or she was just playing it safe. Because they were live on television, she didn't want to expose everything. There's multiple theories. We have no idea. But yeah, I think Turnip, I did answer that question earlier. I mean, they have to do something new for Splatoon 3. Not just new weapons and new maps, but new characters, new gear, all of that. You can also find my answers to those in the frequently asked questions that I wrote up in the description. Please do check that out. Yeah, ranks can be very frustrating. Your ranks just go bye-bye. I feel that. Oh, you remember that? 3 said this is not a T-pose? Yeah, that was sort of an ad-lib. Yeah, I honestly just... There's so many possibilities for Splatoon 3 that we can't even just summarize them all. I do want to get that video out, which I have the green light to do, talking about the fan-made Project Splatoon 3 before anything big about the actual game drops. Because honestly, that was the most ambitious fan project for Splatoon I've really seen. Like, and there's been a lot of like animatics, comics, things like that. I think they go by Squeaky Alexis Blom, the person who did Project Splatoon 3. They wrote a whole story mode, new areas, a ranked mode, a bunch of different weapons. They created a fan-made species called the Hairlings. They did so much. They have a whole portfolio, and I want to like break that down. I think a bunch of other YouTubers might have talked about it in the past, but I even wanted to narrate the little story mode they put together, so they sent me the whole document, and that's another project to work on. We've got so much stuff to do. Late, but I made it. Hello, Kohi. Welcome. This comment, if Agent 3 was not an edgelord, what would you make her? Honestly, like, Agent 3, in my opinion, is not completely, like, edgy, at least in my stories anymore. She's a softie around her friends. But, I mean... I kind of sympathize with the characters who give a cold shoulder to others, like, when they first meet them, like, they're not sure how to approach or interact with others. I don't know. It warms my heart to see them eventually just letting their guard down and being able to trust and make real connections with the people around them. Oh, wow, that is really amazing, dressing. Wow. Well, shout out to your sister. Tell her thank you for, watching my content. That's really so sweet. What do the Squid Sisters and Off the Hook's parents look like? I wish we knew. Even in the Splatoon prequel, Splatoon 2 prequel that Nintendo put out, Marie goes home to her parents, but we never see what they look like. It would have been interesting if Gomi Pomi drew them. I think she only drew the silhouettes of them. You can only imagine that they look similar to them. Different hairstyles, but probably similar ink colors or whatnot. Yeah. The lore in Splatoon is mostly outside of the game. Like only even just a small fraction of it is in the game. And that's the Sunken Scrolls and the story, so there's so much to get into. But it requires having funds to, you know, acquire the art books and whatnot, so I definitely recommend checking out Inkopedia, the Splatoon wiki, if you want to learn more without having to just make those purchases. That and Twitter and YouTube channels like this one and like Rossicus and Trinity RPG, people like that. People who make videos educating about the lore and stuff. I love Deadfish. Winter Cole, yeah. Deadfish is really great. 14 Crush comic series is all about her. She deserves that. She deserves that love. Didn't Namuro make a comic if Pearl's dad looks like her but with a mustache? Yeah, that was a drawing on their Twitter. I think I should share that on the community tab for people to see it. I know not everyone has Twitter. Yeah, Gomi Pomi art is godlike, yes. Oh, it's a good idea, Shimmy. Yeah, we'll definitely get new bands. Like, I feel like that's a given. So we have almost been vibing together for 30 minutes so far. And I wanted to sort of catch up with everyone, say hello, see what your thoughts for the day are, and then we'll get into the story reading. How is the audio? I'm going to put on some Splatoon music for the story and also some more ambience. Because we are on a train underwater. As you can see, the ocean is sort of like on the window behind Agent 3 and 8, the ocean is sort of like reflecting. The waves are sort of moving on the windows, right? If you look hard enough, you can see it. Yeah, on every line in Octo expansion, like when you come back from the different tests, you can basically see a sort of different background. This one's my favorite. On the opposite side of where they're sitting, you can actually see just these tall streetlights and kelp just waving around in the background. There's other cool ones. And the passengers change out too. Yes, thank you, Jay. Yeah, if you guys want to send fan art, it's at Yume Paradox, which is my Twitter, or at Yume's_studio on Instagram. The audio is fresh and calming. Sounds good, sounds great. Alright. Well, why don't we get the ambience started up? Let me know if this is too loud. For me, I can sort of hear it. It's like a little bit of a bubbly sound. Are you sure that train from the metro isn't the one from Spirited Away? Could you imagine? Yeah, how is everyone? Yeah. I know how y'all are doing so far. Yeah, Agent 8 does call Pearl Paw Pearl. Ma Marina is Marina. I like Namuro's comics. Like, sometimes they can be like really serious. Most of the time they're just like really comedic and heartwarming. I hope I continue to be able to work with them and all their stuff. Ooh, Mario Golf. I've heard that it's a lot of fun. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Perfectly fine. That's great. This is Demon Gummy's music? Oh no, this is Lofi Girl's music. And they're linked in the description. Oh, but I do encourage y'all to check out their channel. I shared it on the community tab. Alright, so I think I'll let this last song play out. The next song that I want to play is 8 Regret. You know, the 8-ball theme from Splatoon 2 Octo expansion, but it's Kimu's Lo-Fi remix. That's also linked in the description if you guys want to listen to it later. I really love that rendition. And we're going to be playing that for the story. So I'd say we have about a minute left in the song. Spirited Away is so good. It really is, though. It's such a timeless classic. No matter how many times I watch it, I feel like I'm seeing it for the first time again. Like, I don't know how they managed to do that. It's so refreshing. You can get lost in the atmosphere of it and feel like you're there in that world. And I think that's why I love Splatoon so much, because Splatoon has the ability to do that, to get you absorbed into Inkopolis in the world of like these little squid kids and octo kids. It's got that same capability. I guess that's why we all just enjoy the story so much. Yeah, Kimi's music is great. I love all their remixes. And that's it for song. I think now we can just hear the aquatic ambience. Hey, welcome to stream, Leo. How are you doing? I do like Noteblock as well. I was listening to their Bubbling remix earlier. I don't like to compare, composers or creators. Like, they equally have something that makes them unique. Like, they're all out here doing their own thing, and I appreciate them for it. I have not actually read the Splatoon manga. I've read the Octo expansion bit, but not any of the rest. Timeless movies are the greatest indeed. Thank you, Yin Yang. Yeah, Penny Benny did a wonderful job on the art. Their profile is linked in the description. I'm going to hydrate before we get into our story time. Oh, and that's your reminder to make sure that you're drinking your water, guys. Always important. That is some good hydration. Yeah, we are on a deep sea metro train ride with Agent 3 and 8. Now, a moment. Pull up the story. Ta-da! There on the left side of the screen. As we scroll through, you'll be able to see the text. But this is the name of the story, Effervescence, an Agent 3 and 8 story. You're reading part 2, which is called Twisted Tour Guide. It starts off where Agent 3 and 8 are in the metro, trying to find a way out. It's really interesting to me because different perspective of the Octo expansion, and I just wonder what it'd be like if they were traveling together, like, as companions. Who knows? It'd been a completely different DLC for sure. Hail hydrate. Nice. I've been doing good. Hope you are too. Hey, we got the water in the chat. Awesome. Sharing is caring. Korika's pretty good. I've seen the dubs. I just haven't made time to watch a lot of them. Agent 4 is always around usually. I don't think they've ever actually gotten to go to the metro though. There's been comics about that. But officially, I'm not sure. Although tomorrow, 8/4, is also Agent 4 and 8 Appreciation Day. Today, it's all about 3 and 8. Oh, we got that. Alright. Well, you're ready for the story. Already. Gonna get the music. Right now, it's just bubblies. bubblies in the background. Let's see. And there we go. Never go wrong with number 8, regret. It is story time, indeed it is. Glad you guys are having a good time. I won't be able to respond to the chat while I'm doing the reading, of course. But I do hope you enjoy yourselves, and I hope that this part of the stream is comfy or just relaxing to listen to. I appreciate you all so much for being here. Alright, we're gonna get started. Alright, so this is Effervescence, an Agent 3 and 8 story, and we're going to be reading part 2, Twisted Tour Guide. So, 8, how much do you remember? The yet unnamed Inkling and 8 were currently cruising along a seemingly abandoned railroad track, with 8 balancing along the side, arms stretched out on either side of her. She hobbled along the track. Far behind them, Captain Cuttlefish, as she had later learned his name to be, trailed at a comfortable pace.
Not much.
She stared downward, perfectly aligning her feet with the rusted metal bars. Could you elaborate? There was a quick interval of silence as she closed her eyes, searching the documents of her consciousness.
A song.
8 replied. That, among a few other loose memories, was all she could pull together from the shambled clutter of her robbed memory. She felt wrong, like she had stolen the body of another, unwillingly. That wasn't the case, true, but she had no connection to the person before her. A mind separate from hers now. She tried so clearly, but with fruitless effort, to remember who she once was. An Octoling trooper, most likely employed in defense. But that was the extent of it. It was simply a number among thousands more. That's awfully vague. 8 kicked along a pebble, watching it skitter across the rusted path. Her first thought, the only recollection of her origin, was floating freely in a green ocean. The machinery womb, embraced by a lukewarm liquid. Her mind separate from her vessel, which wafted freely in still waters, undisturbed in her isolated case of glass. She could remember just a very limited space beyond the walls of her tank. Tubes snaking in and out of the walls like veins, pulsing with life. Machinery and rods and valves and mechanical parts far beyond her comprehension. What she remembered most vividly was a liquid, bioluminescent in blue in color, radiating an unearthly glow within the contents of its substance. Stored in large vials, bottles and flasks and canisters of all types, lining chrome wire shelves. She remembered needles, tubes, and patches, fluorescent lights blaring down, the dominating smell of antiseptics among other medical products, sharpened tools glinting under the artificial lighting. But that was the most of it. The Inkling, somewhat unnerved by her description, looked back over at the captain, the two sharing some unspoken sort of agreement between alarmed glances. Do you remember anything afterward? She further prodded. 8 pursed her lips.
Like you beating me up?
Another stretch of silence, ended by a heavy sigh from her part. Look, I'm sorry. It's part of my job. I don't really think too much about it, she said, her gaze cast downward.
You beat people up for your job?
8 inquired, taking the turn to needle her with a torrent of questions in return fire. Well, you could say that, but, the Inkling drawled off, eyes narrowing as she searched for the right explanation. 8 took this as a victory for her, turning her head to conceal the tiny smile that had made its way across her lips. I take down bad causes. let's just say that. I'm part of the new Squid Splatoon, a clan dedicated to righteousness and most widely known as the defenders of the Inkopolis. She elaborated, a spark of pride tinging her words, ever so faintly. Oh yeah, that's Captain. You know him. He took part in the war all those years ago, led his faction to victory. She jabbed a finger back over her shoulder to the elderly Inkling. He waved a shaky hand, nodding knowingly. I took place in the war all those years ago, he spoke, stroking his beard. Yes, Cap, you did. The Inkling turned back and made a sort of exhale of a sigh. 8, who had remained silent through their little introduction, finally spoke up.
So, what is your idea of righteousness?
The atmosphere lowered with sudden pressure, thickened the unbearable silence that followed. 8 shivered at a passing draft that acted in perfect timing to the drop of mood. The Inkling, once babbling off in confidence, stopped dead silent, the words drying from her mouth. That little question seemed to put her into thought, or even distress in her little figurative battle to defend her reasoning.
Sorry. Didn't mean to get... Is he illogical?
8 stuttered, scrambling for proper wording. Philosophical, the Inkling corrected. And it's alright. She sighed dully, dragging a hand along her face, rubbing gentle circles under her eyes which were heavy with gray folds, evident of many sleepless nights. Another stretch of silence, unbearable in volume. Before the Inkling lifted her head to glance over at 8, hand stretched flat across her forehead, as if warding away an intrusive bright light. Sorry, we started off on less than pleasant terms. Yet again, a pace of tense silence followed. 8 looked over at the Inkling, whose amber eyes fixated on the rail tracks, apparently having found interest in the patterns of rust in the aged metal. I know it's probably hard. 8 lifted her head, her silence prompting her to continue. The clack of heels and conjoining of quiet breaths was all that dipped through the following quietness. 3 sighed, almost as if in defeat, rubbing the bridge between her eyes. To forget everything, I mean. To not know who you were before all of this. To be expected to move on without grief. The Inkling looked up at her, something fracturing her ordinarily composed expression. A flicker of an illegible emotion. Her eyes were distant, unreadable. 8 realized that she was meant partially as a question. Her pace slowed. She averted her gaze, fiddling with the hem of her skirt, searching for the right words in her very much limited vocabulary.
Well, yes. I want to understand. More than anything.
She started, taking in a quick breath, her shoulders rising with intake.
There's really nothing for me to base off of. Understand me better. I don't know who I am. There's nothing for me to mourn.
The atmosphere was tinged with an awkward silence that was only ever broken by the soft drum of footsteps, resonating within the brick-walled tunnel. Heels against gravel and metal, a distant bird song of machinery rolling in synchronized harmony. 8 looked over at 3, saw that her gaze was locked strictly forward, and sighed. She's always like that, a tad bitter, somewhat reserved. Don't take it personally, Cuttlefish noted, rather undisturbed by 3's sharp shift in nature. 8 wasn't that surprised, especially from what she had seen so far. It seemed 3 was tricky. That much she could say. She most definitely seemed like the complex type, kind to tangle themselves up in their own shambled mess of feelings, oh so convoluted, an undecipherable labyrinth that even they couldn't decode.
Hey.
8 spoke, parting the extended block of silence, her voice suddenly much softer. 3 didn't verbally respond, though. 8 saw her perk her head, a sign that she was, in fact, listening.
I never asked, what is your name?
She continued. Out of the many, many questions left to wander unanswered, that was one, albeit small, sort of answer. 3 shuffled nervously, shaking their head. Agent 3, that's all you need to know. It didn't come out hostile. Her voice was oddly soft, tame in comparison to her usual callous tone of feigned indifference. Gentle, one could say, though the term fit poorly with her overall nature. Kate thought it was sweet, warm. He wanted to hear it again.
Is that why your cloth?
She spoke up, motioning over to Three's cape. Three glanced behind her, a bit puzzled. Why my cloth? Oh, my cape. Yeah, reflects my respective number.
Did you make it yourself?
He continued, bringing a finger to her chin, taking note of the poor stitchwork and cheap choice of fabric. Instinctively, Agent 3 tugged her cape closer to herself, rubbing the material between her fingers, suddenly very self-conscious. Yes, a fellow agent helped me make it, she admitted, voice wavering in self-uncertainty. She dodged 8's curious gaze, looking elsewhere, her expression settling back to indifference. Here we are now, Captain spoke up, gesturing forward with his cane. 8 and 3 both shot up, looking forward. Sure enough, light through artificial bled in through an opening in the tunnel, opening up to another section of the station. That should be it, 3 noted, a tinge of relief seeping through her words. Gradually, she sped up into a gentle jog, Captain struggling after her. 8, not wanting to be left behind, broke out into a steady trot, only to be met with a sporadic stab of pain slicing through her leg. She stuttered forward, knees buckling forward before going completely limp. She let out a pained hiss of a whimper through gritted teeth, coming to a sudden stop. Agent 3, at the alert of the whine of discomfort from behind her, slowed to a stop and turned. Right, sorry, she murmured, nodding to Cuttlefish. The two slowed to a leisurely pace, sure to adapt to 8's comforts, though it was obvious 3 was quite intent on getting out of there. She threw continuous glances back at 8, swift to cut contact when their eyes met. They popped out on the other side, finding themselves in some sort of subway platform. 8 squinted in adjustment to the flooding light, quite the drastic change from the grim, dingy light of the tunnel. Overhead, the ceiling curved upward, glass panels making up the center of the dome, and giving view into the depressing excuse of a sky, which stood as a dark slate speckled with faint, flickering lights. Graffiti painted the bleak stone of the walls. The paint was fresh, 8 noticed. Posters and vendors, still fully stocked, suggested that this station was once occupied with life, though long since past. This should be in operating condition. There's supposed to be a train online, 3 noted, brows furrowing. You know this place? Captain Cuttlefish spoke up, equally as confused. 3 shook her head. No, I've heard of it before, though that's the extent of it. It's supposed to be some sort of train line, leads to the surface. The Octarian army doesn't know about it, supposedly. 3 elaborated. Captain raised a trembling finger to further question her, but she shook her head in denial, silencing any incoming words. Let's at least get to the boarding platform before we go asking any more questions. 8 swore she could see 3 glare back at her at the last part. Agent 3 moved to the ledge, helping Captain up to the platform. Once he was safely on the boarding dock, she motioned over to 8. 8 cautiously moved forward, allowing 3 to guide her movements. He hoisted her up with great ease, somewhat appalling to 8, who lay limp in her arms, jaw unhinged. With minuscule trouble, she was hauled up to the ledge, and once placed safely on the platform, was released. 3 jumped over the station edge with fluid ease, following after the 2 of them. The station was empty, splinters of metal and hollowed shells of machinery strewn about the cement floor. The surviving remains of a society since fallen. Above, the glass dome ceiling spewed thinning streams of dust and rubble from fractured panels. It was deserted, reaped of life. 3 huffed in building irritation, pressing 2 fingers to her forehead. I don't understand. The reports were recent. They said it was active. As if called upon, a pair of twin yellow moons flickered at the end of the opposite tunnel, the blare of a horn tracing through the air, abruptly breaking the deserted silence that had occupied the barren station dock. A train came barreling out the other side, screeching to a sudden halt, steam lifting up in droves from the wheels which sparked with friction, lighting up the railway with jolts of yellow and white. Kate gave an exhale of relief, dismissing the building fear that had manifested itself in her chest, plaguing her mind with worries of unrealistic, yet frightening, in all respect, scenarios. There we go, Agent 3 sighed, striding over to the loading platform. Agent 8 followed in close pursuit, not wanting to be left behind in the gloomy chasm of the station, whose lurking shadows were far from inviting, dancing in a menacing mix of light and dark, foreboding a drab future were she to linger. 3 and Captain bypassed the turnstiles and boarded the train. 8, however, came to a halt. Just a few feet from where she stood was a machine. That in particular was not what had caught her attention, but the lurking feeling of familiarity that came with it. The device was very much outdated in design, far outpaced by the current age of technology that consumed the modern community. It appeared to be some kind of ancient phone, but yes, she had most definitely seen it before. Warily, 8 stepped forward, reaching out a single hand forward. Something in her subconsciousness was calling her forward, drawing her by an embedded thread to a fate she would always return to, beckoning her forward, and closer. 8, come on! We don't want to be here any longer than necessary, 3 called. 8 was pulled away by a very much impatient 3, who took her hand in hers and lightly tugged her along to the train, careful not to force her pace. 8 did not overlook the cautious, somewhat uneasy glare she threw back at the device, an obvious underlying weariness evident on her usual stony features. The train was, simply, like any other. A little disorganized, with unidentifiable substances slick in the creases of the seats, and far too many layers of paint and graffiti, among other tagging, painting the walls. Okay, scratch that. Concerningly unsanitary. But 8 was simply grateful to be out of the station itself. 3 looked around, humming idly. Is this self-operating? How exactly does this work? Thank you for using Deep Sea Metro this fine day. I take it you're new to this line. The 3 of them turned towards the train doors, which stood open. 3, along with 8, were very much confused when they were unable to locate the speaker, seeing only, well, nothingness in front of them. Down here, the same voice alerted, calling their attention downward. There stood a tiny sea slug, sea pig, sea cucumber? 8 couldn't pinpoint it, but it was small and round and appeared faintly like that of a luminescent stress ball, and she had the faint urge to squish it and, oh, it was alive. The creature wore a comically tiny conductor's hat lined in faux gold, the center emblem bearing a symbol that 8 distinctly remembered having seen somewhere around the station, printed on some sort of sign or billboard of the sort. 3 shuffled, brows furrowing and lips slightly parting in apparent bafflement. 3 coughed dryly, clearing her throat. Are you the conductor? The sea cucumber, his exact species was pretty indistinguishable as of now, nodded curtly, or as best as he could, having no neck. Yes, that is me, sea cucumber, humbly at your service, he confirmed, wiggling an alien, stubby hand to punctuate his words. Now, where is it you're inquired? Expression, or lack thereof, impassive. 3 shifted her weight from one foot to another. She threw a somewhat concerned glance back at Cuttlefish, who only mirrored her confusion. She turned back to the sea cucumber, who sat in undisturbed patience, awaiting an answer. 3 started, tugging at the collar of her vest. Merle drop-off, I believe. He gave a quick nod before slowly, painfully slowly, swinging back to the front of the train, the sliding doors clicking shut behind him. And how exactly do you know so much about this specific area, 3? Captain piped up, lightly jabbing her with the flat end of his cane. 3 made some sort of dismissive huff. patrol, many expeditions. 3 turned on her heel, heading down the cart to a partially empty seat located at the far back of the train. Captain and 8, however, lagged behind, glancing around warily at their surroundings. The passengers, all of differing destinations, were quite grim in appearance. Alien, plenty peculiar, far different than themselves. Most of the commuters were varying deep-sea creatures, with murky or multiple eyes and luminescent scales flickering dangerously. Teeth galore and sunken limbs, and oh god, one just looked at her. After meeting eyes with a pelican eel, whose jaw jutted outward grotesquely, a gaping V-shaped chasm of a mouth, 8 decided to keep to herself and raced off to catch up to 3. She seated herself next to 3, wedged in between a viperfish with muddy, grim eyes and a row of needle-like teeth, who wore a simple band tee and was currently buried in a comic book. On the opposing side sat a large humpback anglerfish, whose mouth was forever open as to give way to its far too many teeth. Even after scooting a good few inches back, 8 could still hear its heavy, strained breathing. It was far too frightened to complain. Captain hobbled over and took a seat on the opposing side. Agent 3 looked somewhat uncomfortable with the setup, but gave no vocal complaints. Next stop, Merle Drop-Off, estimated 20-minute commute. A drab voice informed from over the intercom, before a wave of static claimed the system. The train lurched forward, slowly tottering over the tracks, before speeding up to a steady cruise. 8, who felt as if in a spotlight under the many, many eyes of the fellow riders, shifted uncomfortably, subconsciously snatching Agent 3's cape and tugging it to her chest. Upon realization, she nearly flung herself from the seat, but was surprised when she wasn't met with anger or irritation from 3, who only spared her a lightly worried glance. "You scared?" She spoke, oddly soft. 8 swallowed, hands curling into her lap. Was that a trick question, meant to lure her into false security as to expose her petty weaknesses? Or was that actually genuine? She bit her lip, eyes darting this way and that, before she hesitantly nodded. 3 nodded, more to herself, and shifted closer. "Nothing's going to happen. We're here. We'll do what it takes to get you to the surface," she pledged. And though her expression was impassive, particularly indifferent, her concern was genuine. An 8's breath hitched in her throat, mine going to flounder as 3 leaned in, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. When she was drawing closer, she could feel her breath brushing lightly across her cheek and, oh god. "Right, Captain?" 3 swung her head over to Cuttlefish, who sat awkwardly squished between the aforementioned anglerfish and a stanchion. He shot the 2 of them a thumbs up, though his eyes pleaded to escape the confinements of his current prison, awkwardly dwarfed by the neighboring passengers. 3 drew back, folding her arms across her chest, and returning to an idle rest. And then, a silence followed, not as unbearable or stiff as the silent intervals of conversation from before, thankfully, but enough to let 8's mind wander in an attempt to occupy her otherwise vacant mind. She traced her finger along the graffiti of the wall, trying to make out the painted tag that appeared faintly Octarian, though nothing she could directly decipher. She counted the passengers divided by group, 6 jellyfish, 3 anglerfish, so on. She examined the yellow hospital band around her left wrist, taking notice of a tiny blinking light that was installed in the tag, nearly unnoticeable. Then, in her fruitless attempts of entertainment, her eyes wandered over to a thin booklet left on the train seat, the obnoxious orange cover catching her eye. She picked it up, squinting as to make out the foreign lettering of the title that was most definitely English. Squid Kid fashion. Hot, fresh, trendy, and gobless fashion. Focus. She got that in one go. The cover displayed a collage of photographs depicting Inklings in a variety of gear, all far beyond the likes that 8 had seen. Intrigued, she flipped through the contents, only really looking at the pictures and skimming past the blocks of text that were far too strenuous to read. The gear was very much unique. A lot of them caught Eight's attention with the palettes and fabrics, ranging from vivid to monotone, silk to cotton, fashionably fresh, as reinforced by the overuse of the word, to atrociously disastrous. What sort of appalling, abominable monster thought that socks and sandals were acceptable, much less an upcoming fad? Eight sighed in repulsion, shutting the book and sliding it back to its place on the metal bench. Her gaze wandered adjacent to a slit from a newspaper. It was a shredded extract from some sort of news report, though the title was still, mostly, intact. At the very upper corner was a grayscale photograph, though it was unsalvageable. He hummed, concentrating to make out the text. What Inkopolis doesn't want you to know. Renowned pop star Marie returned from prolonged hiatus. Octolings still alive? Reports of the train, completely unprompted, came to a sudden halt. Eight was nearly hurled from her seat, clinging for her dear life onto Three's sleeve as to keep grounded. The rest of the occupants lurched forward with the abrupt motion, rising in shared confusion. Why are we stopped? This isn't a designated... Three cut herself off, eyes going wide. Without so much as an explanation, she bolted from her seat, racing over to the opposite window. From what A could tell, they were stopped at some sort of crossing bridge, clearly not an assigned drop-off point. She rose from her seat with confused urgency, following after Three. Agent 3 swung around, prompting 8 back to her seat with haste, an underlying urgency breaking her usually impassive features. He nodded over to Captain, who was seemingly understanding of the situation.
What's going on?
8 asked, having to raise her voice over the rising buzz of muddled uproar, prompted by the fellow passengers, who stirred in lightly concerned disruption. 3 guided her back to the seat, frantically shaking her head. Watch after Captain. I'll take care of this, she asserted, turning sharply on her heel.
What? What's going on?
8 demanded, fidgeting in a rising fear that she would rather not admit, but was evident nonetheless. It didn't help tame her nerves at just how alarmed 3 was, pacing the small block of given space. Her brows knitting in frustration. That's fine, I just... Clink. The train churned, metal groaning. A few carts away, the doors opened, a synced set of geared footsteps stepping on board. And that is the end of this part of the story. There's a bit of an author's note from the author Marmar. It says, is it ever really confirmed what sea cucumber is? His name suggests sea cucumber, but he appears more like a sea pig. But he's called a sea slug once? That's a question for another day. There's a really sweet note here about 3. C3 is usually quiet and collected, but that's a front for her nerdiness and strong desire to appear mysterious yet heroic. She cares a lot about how she appears, though would never admit it. 8, however, is just really confused and just wants to have a good time. Captain is everyone's disorientated grandpa. Yes. I can only imagine that a set of Octarian troopers or Octoling elites found the train. Perhaps there would be some sort of fight scene. Who knows what would happen? But this story was written too beautifully for me to not feature it. So, Marmar, if you're out there, I don't know if you're still out there. I hope you're doing well. Hope you continue writing. I wasn't able to find any of their social media, so I can only link back to this profile in the description if you guys would like to read part 1 on your own time. But it's a really interesting look into an alternate storyline for Octo expansion. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys enjoy the narration? And plenty of good vibes from the story? You guys think they're sanitized Octolings that they ran into? I think so too. Over here, you're relaxing. Oh man, I read the full title. Who would want to sleep? I know it is it's really kind of a thrilling tale. It's very descriptive, and that's what I really loved about it and why I wanted to read it. But I do know that sometimes I'll put on a video to watch, and before I realize it, I end up falling asleep to it. That was amazing. Thank you guys. Yeah, the author wrote a bunch of other drabbles too, I believe. Some for Perlina. But I do know how it is to start something and not be sure where you want it to go next. And ultimately, sometimes things can never be completed. And so that's probably what happened with the story, but I still wanted to read it. I really enjoyed it. I need to model my writing after this. It was amazing. Narration was perfect. Oh, thank you, Vault. Thank you. This playing while I was driving, very peaceful. I was able to finish my Agent 8 drawing. Test passed. Awesome. It's kind of annoying, but I loved. Awesome. Thank you. I want an audiobook of this now. Oh. I wonder where the author is now. It's kind of what happened with Splatfest Alert, where there are a lot of comics. And I talked to the author before like getting the green light to be able to dub them on the channel, but they had big plans for a sort of mini Octo expansion comic, and then sort of disappeared because life was just like taking them down. Never heard from them again. This is practically since the Squid versus Octopus Splatfest, I think. That's a couple of years. Hopefully they're doing well out there. I don't know. Yeah, writer's block, it does suck. Love the art. Where's it from? This is a commission from Puni Booney. I linked their Twitter in the description. They draw a lot of Agent 3 and 8. Sometimes comics with all of the agents and other characters. You should definitely check her out. A lot of cool stuff over there. Yeah, I love these stories too. Muchas gracias. De nada. Thank you. Yeah, as always, I usually try and look back at the chat after the stream is over. Because during a reading, I can't divide my focus. Well, Kohi, if you're let's see, looking for a very sugary and more sweet Agent 24 story, please look forward to reading your Splatoon stories. The next entry that comes out sometime this month. At the beginning of the stream, I mentioned that we'd have a new one, and it's courtesy of Bixels, who also did the Agent 8 comic. I don't know if I want to bring up some of the art on stream really quickly. I have to find the link, and I'll get it for you guys so I can show you. Alright, just bear with me for a few moments. This is the official art for the story. Well, before we do that, I need to access Twitter. It always helps when you're opening up Twitter. Right? And here it is. So yes, the story is called Those Sleepless Nights. It's also a piece that was drawn for Agent 8 and 3 Day last year in 2020. And it's been a while coming, but I did want to give it a narration. Pixels was kind enough to reach out, and I commissioned another piece for the story. You guys will be seeing it fairly soon. For my specific agents 3 and 4 and 8, do they have a name, or is it just their agent names? No. My fan made OCs have names, and so Agent 3 is Midori Takako, Agent 4 is Ayumi Ikamatsu, and Agent 8 is Ayano Yuki, I believe. I can't forget my own characters' names. And so the new character, whoever they may be, I wanted to give them the last name Mizuhara. I don't know if they'll be an Octoling or an Inkling for sure, because now that Octo expansion is a thing, you can switch between both. So I don't know. I mean, the Inkling with the bow is sort of like the poster character for the series at this point for Splatoon 3, but who knows? I think he'll be interchangeable. They're keeping a lot from us, so we don't really know what's gonna happen. But yeah, that's the art for those sleepless nights, and that story is coming fairly soon. Might premiere it, might upload it. I'll let y'all know as always on the community tab when that's coming up. Oh, you guys, yeah. I'm glad to hear that a lot of people like Bixel's artwork. I'm not sure if there are a lot of stories that they have written, but I'm not sure if they made a lot of comics for Agent 8 and 3. They only do have the one on the channel. I'll have to reach out to them again soon. I'm doing well, Nocturne, thank you. Hope you are too. That 8 in the kitchen? Yes, they are in Agent 3's apartment, based on the scenario and setting of the story. It's really, really cool. Thank you for subscribing, appreciate it. Yeah, I hope the author's alright physically, emotionally, and mentally. Yeah, same here. I think a couple of people were asking about it earlier on the channel. A lot of people know those comics in the Splatfest series as the Yandere Marina comics. Because it's a different side of Marina that you've never seen before. I do encourage you guys checking out that playlist, the Splatfest Alert playlist section. It's hilarious. It's really, really hilarious. I had a lot of fun with that series, and I believe there are 3 more videos in it that have yet to be released. A lot of things been put on the back burner. I'm glad we're finally getting to content again. It's great to do these events and just be creative, see what comes out of them. Glad I got to celebrate Agent 8 and 3 Day with y'all this year. We haven't done anything like that in the past for sure, so it's always fun to find new frontiers and all that sentimental stuff, blah blah blah. Yes, Cuttlefish is a great grandpa. Yep. Yeah, that is the same 3. The buff 3. Thank you, Superstar. Thank you, everybody. A lot of Agent holidays? Yes. We still do have Agent 8 Day, which is on August 8th. So we'll probably do something fun for her as well. It's only fair. We've had Marie Day. We missed Agent 3 Day, but I uploaded a comic on that date. Oh, 3. We can't miss March 3rd next year. We did do Agent 4 Day. We did Callie Day, which is the day that she came back to Octo Canyon with Marie. We did a bunch of them, and they're all in the streams playlist, so please do check those out if you're needing something to put in the background. Those streams were just so much fun. Yeah, 2022 is gonna be great. Yeah, Cuttlefish never talks about their grandma, so who knows? They don't either. Dang, the Squid Sisters have a tragic backstory we haven't tapped into yet? Who knows? Now, I have not read the Splatoon manga. I've read the Octo expansion part, but not all of it. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Zachary. Does anyone else think that the squad and Ahato need to do some co-op on Off the Hook Gaming? Oh, Hooked on Gaming. Yeah, well, I don't know. It's been a long time coming, and honestly, I would like for Agent 4 and 3 to make an appearance yet. They don't yet have sprites. Only Marina, Pearl, and Agent 8 do, because it is a bit of a pricey factor for the series. Although those 3 are the ones we're focusing on right now. I do eventually want to get all the characters on there. Probably just all the agents. And we'll see where the series goes from there. But I need everyone's support in order to do that, so please continue liking the videos. Just continue liking them and watching them. Please stream Hooked on Gaming. And we'll get there sooner than you think. Wow, 4 a.m? Wow, what a trooper. Hope you have a good one. Thank you for tuning in for Agent 3 and 8 Day. Have a good rest. Thank you. Maybe dubbing more of Nico's comics. Yeah, we have a couple more of those planned. Those are a lot of fun, and I really love their work. Yeah, please look forward to that as well. Yeah. Yeah, Splatoon community has a lot of great aspects to it, for sure. Making my own comic? I thought of scripting. I've talked about that in the Q&A. But yes, I have sort of started scripting a comic. There's so many projects that I still can't even talk about yet. So yeah. Just yes. Yes. Yes to all the questions. Memo, Marina, and Burl Baby. I actually don't know. Would it have been sometime in July? Like the first test fire date or the very first Splatfest, the cake versus ice cream one? I believe like no one really had a consensus on that over on Twitter, so I don't know. Maybe the voice actresses' birthdays? It's from Marina have official vocalists. I think Alice Peralta is Marina's vocalist, and Ito Rina is Pearl's vocalist. And they've also done collab songs together outside of Splatoon's music soundtrack. I don't know. People have drawn birthday art for the vocalist, so maybe next year we'll take a look into that. Yeah, any fandom has its bad apples. But you shouldn't let that ruin your enjoyment of the series. I mean, there's always so much more to the fan base than just the minority who, you know, tends to just go all out. Thank you, Isaiah. Glad you like the background. Once again, guys, check the description. It's got all the links to the music, to the artists. Please follow them if you want to see more 83 art of all kinds. Not only do they create a lot of 83 artwork, Uni also retweets a lot of amazing Japanese Splatoon artists' work, so there's always something interesting to see if you have a Twitter. Even if you don't, I'll be sure to share things on the community tab when I can, and just keep you updated on the next video. I suppose our time together is slowly coming to an end. It was nice to be able to read a story for you all. I've missed doing that. We've had a year full of story readings in 2020, that's for sure. And those may be returning if we get a release date for Splatoon 3, as I've said at the very end. They may be returning. Yeah, kudos to them. Yeah, I love the vocalists. I love the Splatoon development team a lot. Yeah, Splatoon 3, it's pretty big. It's Splatoon's a trilogy now. If they don't do some sort of bonus limited edition sort of release, it'll be kind of disappointing. I know the pandemic's affecting a lot of things, but they shouldn't miss this chance. I'll definitely get it at release, because every Splatoon game in the past, both 1 and 2, I've gotten like in the middle of the Splatfest cycle, so I never played every Splatfest from the start. That'll be different for sure. I'm gonna make sure to get in as soon as the action starts. Nice for being here. Glad we can make the day a bit more special. Thank you, and thank you for joining the membership as well, SCP. Appreciate that. To 83 or 38, I don't know. Like, it goes so many different ways. It even can be listed as 24, but I guess it is whatever you would like it to be. Whatever you would like. No worries, no worries. This was a short chill stream, and I hope that those who check it out in the future as well will enjoy it. Thank you all, everybody, all of you who are here with me live for the reading. A lot of fun. We'll do this again sometime. Narration 8 day, I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna do yet. I still have to come up with some sort of schedule, but rest assured that 8 will have her day as well as 4 has. And 3 next year, because we missed it. Everyone will have their day, eventually. Yeah, no worries. Thank you all for a great evening as well. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Clasher, Tug, everybody. Yeah, definitely check out the link in the description for the first part. Let me see. Can I read off? I'm gonna try to read off as many names as I can to sort of close out the stream. Wow, this list isn't even coming close to everyone who's here. My goodness. Okay, well, I'll start from up here. Thank you to Isaiah, ESRD Warrior, Tuck Banks, Yankee 1147, V Telion, Nitro, Steve J, Unlucky, Superstar Gamer, Lewis, Sorry Tiger, SCP Unknown, Paper Ouija, Lone Wolf, Banana, does that say banana? I can't tell. Kanan, Squid Boy, Anna, Detective WJ, Vault 580, Agent Koopa, Mr. Gutterman, Scenic, Isabella, Ash, Sean the Porcupine, Nocturne, Super 8 and the Agent, Agent Fresh, Liz Forley, and Zachary, Agent 7, Shark Boy, a bunch of other people I probably have missed, but I'm going through is in the past chat messages that have scrolled by. Alright. Thank you for tuning in to this story time, and I'll see you guys in the next post, the next video, or perhaps just Agent 8 Day itself. Take care of yourself, get some good rest, drink your water please. Probably put that in an opposite order. Take care of yourself, drink your water, eat some good food, get some rest, and as always, stay off the hook and stay fresh, everybody. Thank you for coming out to Agent 83 Day. Let's look forward to an awesome August. Until next time.